were you guys prepared for it in the way that you knew that almost a new bowling attack is going to be defending 234? So was that also assumed that it will be a tough day?
Yeah, I think today we shouldn't take anything away from the New Zealand batsmen. I think the opening batsmen played extremely well, both yesterday and today. They set things up yesterday. Some of the balance was fantastic when the ball was on middle and leg. They left the ball well, and they built a really good foundation, and they added to that today. We found it extremely difficult. We didn't start the day as well as we would have wanted with the ball. We probably got a little bit too leg stomach, and then we changed plans. We had then a plan to go leg side, and then we had another plan probably very too early, which was to go short. And it could have worked, that plan, but it didn't. What you've got to understand is that sort of plan takes a lot out of the bowlers, and we might have been better off doing that from one end rather than both ends, because the bowlers were pretty cooked, to be honest, going into that afternoon and an evening session. And a young attack, as you said, but there were some things there for guys who hardly played any first-class cricket, really, and certainly no international test cricket. There were things that excited me. I mean, there were some things about Aberdeen that excited me, and we know Khalid and Rai can go well, and Shawmore did quite well nicely there, but New Zealand showed their class. Kane Williamson was solid, and when they're determined as batsmen, they're difficult to shift on a pretty flat wicket.
Where do each of these bowlers have to work on? I mean, it's obviously about its first day of bowling, but
yeah, it's very difficult to be critical of people like Aberdeen. You know, he showed great enthusiasm, good pace. He's a really bright prospect, like the others are as well, but where do they need to get better? A little bit of experience will help, but we knew that. You know, we knew that they've not played a lot of cricket, and the more they do, days like this, a full day in the field, seeing them now in the ice bath together, and they've got a strong recovery overnight, and try and back it up again tomorrow. Those are areas that they've got to improve, as well as hitting that line in length for long enough. You know, the one thing about international cricket is you don't get away with the four balls, so you've got to be a little bit better with your areas, and certainly hit that wicket nice and hard, and for sustained periods. And those are all learning curves for the likes of Khalid and Aberdeen and Rahi, and Shawmore thankfully did a reasonably good job for us today. Mahedi, sadly for him, was off the boil. It was one of his worst performances statistically, and I think he'll put his hand up and admit that he didn't bowl as well as he can, and there's areas there for him to work on, bowling on some flatter pitches. Is there other things he can do to make his bowling more all-round and complete?
We were discussing about the inexperience of the bowling attack. Then why Mustafiz was left out of the squad?
Well, today, the thing about the Fizz is that it's a real struggle for him to put back-to-back test matches together, and I think to get the best out of him mentally and keeping him fresh mentally for test matches is to spell the test matches that he plays. So I think you can gather from that there's every chance he'll come back into the fold in the next test match. And
so wouldn't it be better if you put him in the first test and give rest for second test?
I might explain that. One of the reasons we actually wanted to play him at Wellington was because there's going to be a blowing gale at Wellington. There's 9 times out of 10 it will be, and he's actually our best bowler into the wind, so you'll find a lot of work for the Fizz at Wellington, and for that reason we needed to make sure he was fresh, because he's got a big workload in Wellington. Everything's horses for courses, so that was the reason, and if you'd have let me finish I would have told you that.
Your bowling coach, Courtney Walsh, was famous for bowling overs after overs over the years. Yeah. Why Mustafiz, such an young age, can't play 3 test matches at a trot?
That's so unfair, you know. I mean, Courtney Walsh is an absolute legend of a bowler, and he actually, if you remember Courtney, he was the type of bowler that needed to bowl a lot to gain his rhythm, to gain his pace and his accuracy. If he had a break from playing or he wasn't bowling many overs, then he struggled a little bit, like Glenn McGrath, and you get certain bowlers like that. But you also get certain bowlers who you need to keep fresh, and Mustafiz is one of them.
Coach, what the batsmen learned from seeing the New Zealand batters, how to bat in such wickets?
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll learn a lot, because You know, we went a little bit of a short ball barrage at them, and I thought they played it very well. They got under the ball well, and then they picked the ones to hit for 4. So that was a good learning curve for our guys. We know what's going to come in the rest of the series with Wagner in particular, and we've got to get better at that, and they know that. So it was a good learning curve for our batsmen out there.
Where do you see, it's still 3 days remaining though, but where do you see this test match heading? Yeah.
This is really tough. They've got a sizable lead already. The good thing is the wicket's not turning a great deal, an odd ball's turned, and it's kept relatively even bounce at the moment, so it's probably been at its best today. We always felt day 2, maybe day 3 would be at the best, but there's a sizable total there, and if we are to get ourselves out of trouble in this game, we have to bat extremely well. We're capable. There's guys in the dressing room who can bat for long periods of time, but it's a hell of a challenge, and I keep saying to the boys, you know, we've got to relish those sort of challenges, and but it will be a big one, because when you bat tired after a long time in the field, it affects you mentally as well, and your focus, and we've got to be wary of that, and from the openers all the way through down the order to try and bat long.